She talks about destructive shame versus pro-social shame. Anytime we relapse or we have an addiction, we often find shame. It's so hard to admit you have a problem. It's so defeating to think that this one thing, is derailing my whole life. And sometimes when you go find help or look for help, you sometimes don't get it. Sometimes you go to church and they don't know how to properly counsel you or give you good advice or good prayer. Sometimes you get ostracized, you know what I mean, and you get condemned because it goes back to what we were talking about, where people say, well, just quit. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just don't get the help you need. And because of that, you'll find yourself lying, so that either lying to yourself or lying to people around you to pretend you no longer have that problem, or you never had that problem ever. And because we lie, we find ourselves in isolation. And when we're in isolation, that's usually when we're going to overindulge, because we're social creatures. We're mammals. We need to exist in groups. And when we isolate from other people, that's when we lose ourselves, and that's when we fall more prone to addiction. But there's something and that's called destructive shame, that vicious cycle. When we're not getting the support or help we need, when we're not honest with ourselves, it's going to constantly circulate. But there's pro-social shame, which is often found in AA or maybe a good church, where you can be honest with people. And because you're honest, you're actually rewarded for that. People are going to cling to you more. People are going to be there for you. People are going to pray for you, or, hit you up and make sure you're good. And you want that pro-social honesty, because it's going to break the cycle. You're going to have an addiction that you overindulge in. You're going to find shame. You're going to confess to and look for help. And if you get that help, you're going to find accountability. You're going to find a new path. And I just think it's so beautiful when you find that support group and that accountability, because it really shows you that the greatest source of dopamine is other people and good relationships. We forget that people are a resource. We're animals, we're mammals, we are made to exist in groups. And I just think that there's nothing that can replace that kind of intimacy. When you're with your kids, when you're with your family, when you're with good friends, that's when I feel the best. When I have really good people that I can trust and that I can laugh with and that I can do real life with. I think that's the greatest source of dopamine that no drug or substance or food can ever replace. And I think there's something going on in our world where we are losing that part of ourselves. And I just hope that we can finally realize that we need each other in this world.